Next up on the playlist, two musicians from vastly different backgrounds who found that in musical terms they're in fact closely related. From Great Britain, Justin Adams, a blues guitarist who has played with some of the biggest names in rock. And from the West African country of Gambia, a gifted musician named Julde Kamara. The music on their collaboration, an album called Soul Science, traces a historical line that goes right back to the slave trade, and then follows the development of the blues, first in North America and then all around the world. We think that as history lessons go, this one sounds pretty good.
What I love in the blues and in rock and roll music is that sense of abandon, that sense of trance, that sense of feeling the pain but transcending it and turning into celebration, and a rhythmic thing that just appeals to your body. It's like an ancient soul science that gets your hips moving.
Blues on and the blues ko Africa Euri. Originally blues ko Africa Euri. Because blues mimi andano ko hodu woni force, mi andano ko hodu woni blues, mi andako woni rock and roll, mi andako woni classic, mi andako hodu woni pop. Original boy traditional boy boggi men simbayno mawbe amen mamaji amen ko simbayno kabri mi hetti dim boggi mabbe e blues mi andi o blues ko tok Africa Euri ko ton Euri wallahi.
I guess what we're seeing here is a sort of blues music, which is Justin Adams' background in both rock and blues music. He's been guitarist with Robert Plant for years, played alongside him. And he's grown up with that sort of Afro-American blues tradition. And then Julde is someone from really the roots of that tradition.
Julde comes from an agricultural background from an African country, and he started playing, at the age of 5 or before. His father was an itinerant musician who played at naming ceremonies, circumcisions, even in the fields to give the workers, a bit of encouragement while they're playing. He's coming from a source of traditional music, and I've just always heard in real raw traditional music, that's where I sometimes find this kind of energy that really gets me going.
When music is fused and you can actually hear where it comes from, I think that the emotions are stronger because people can actually identify where it came from. With both musicians that came together, and I think it was a fusion, not for the purpose of fusing, just to fuse, but it has soul and it has spirit. I always think that once music has soul, then inevitably it would exist in people's heart.
It's music that's very easy to get a handle on because we're familiar to the riffs, to the sound. What is different is this incredible sort of lyrical quality on this strange West African instrument, the riti, and the vocals, the really strong West African vocals.
Kabiri minani Justin no pilo CD mako kabiri mi hetti CD mako minani mo pilo mi sikuno ko balejo woni pilade o guitar so kabiri minani dum no woni e pilorade ni tay no battondiri e music am tay no battondiri no betet e music am so wi mi o do dal mi wawa fijude o tigi tawa no webani kam no beteno so ko fijata ko no andi kam no jalijo ni ko jalijo.
best collaborations work when there is something to say between the different musical cultures, but also where the musicians themselves feel at ease with each other and really able to be creative with each other.
I made a record about 10 years ago called Desert Road that was kind of a response to trips I'd made to Mali, on my first trip to Mali in West Africa. And before then I'd been exploring Arabic music, blues, reggae, Algerian, North African music, all kinds of different things. And when I went to Mali for the first time, it felt like all those different things came together. It felt like I was at the center of something.
This three-way meeting of West Africa, American blues and the UK works incredibly well in this context, and of course it's also music that tells a story.
The actual story is that a result of a vile and dreadful thing, which was a transportation of people from Africa to America and other places in the Caribbean as well, you know. And amazingly enough, what came out of that is this kind of real world consciousness about music, which has very, very African roots.
The slave trade was not long ago, 400 years. This is a short period of time in human history. And that's when there was a massive migration, and terrible migration, from West Africa into the New World. It was actually the griots' music that survived. It was these guys playing instruments like this. This became the banjo, this instrument. People could make versions of this instrument, slaves could make it. Drums were forbidden for the slaves, so that whole idea of communal village music was not allowed. The kind of music that could survive in America to keep African culture alive was the solo griot telling stories, talking about his life with a little instrument like this, which you could hide, or you could even pull to pieces and put under the floorboards or something like that. You wouldn't have brass instruments if it wasn't for, in the West, if it wasn't for the Turkish military bands of the Ottoman Empire, and you wouldn't have, the guitar if it wasn't for the oud of the Arab world,
The music, blues music that came out of the American South is one of the most powerful and best known musical forms, and all of that is thanks to this meeting of musical cultures.
Justin Adams and Jules Camara. The album is called Soul Science. There are all kinds of cool fusions coming your way here at the playlist. Here are some other acts that we'll be looking at and listening to down the road. Make sure you catch Dengue Fever, the band, as opposed to the disease. They fuse the sounds of Cambodia with American rock in music that is an unlikely legacy of the Vietnam War and its lingering effect on Southeast Asia. New Zealand is in the South Pacific, so why does so much of the music coming out of there sound Caribbean?
So get up and come right with me, yes. Oh, oh, that's him. Well,
Reggae without the Rastafarians, from the land of the Kiwi. California comes together with Mexico in the guitar-driven, mariachi-fueled music of Calexico.
The strangest categorization for our band, I would say, would have to be
mariachi death rock.
And then there's Rashid Taha. The Algerian's past collaborations include working with the punk icons The Clash. He's still one of North Africa's edgiest musical experts. That's the plan here on the playlist on Al Jazeera. We're out to rock the Casbah and a whole lot more. Are you with the program? Do you like the idea of musical cultures coming together? If so, we'll see you next time.